Good morning, wonderful listeners. Sandy here with another Power Pop. Yesterday, I was talking with a good friend who is an awesome musician and songwriter and incredibly creative in many ways, who was saying that he is struggling to stay focused. He was trying to write a song and suddenly found himself scrolling or doing other things and really had trouble getting his thoughts together, and he was frustrated. So I'm wondering if you have ever noticed that you set out to write a report or get some computer work done, and suddenly an hour has passed and you haven't accomplished much. You realize that you've been distracted by scrolling social media platforms, playing with your phone, checking your emails, things that have nothing to do with your original goal. These days, with constant pings and push notifications and infinite scrolling, staying focused can be a real challenge. Since we live in a world where all kinds of things are fighting for your attention, it's difficult to follow through on what you set down to do. However, while distraction is easy, focus is still very much within your control. It just takes intention, a few strategies, and a willingness to unplug from the noise. I know many years ago, my husband and I saw a fun cartoon movie about a group of dogs that were trying to save the world from other critters that were going to take it over. And they were having a high-powered meeting about how they were going to save the world. And it was all very professional and focused. And then suddenly a squirrel ran by and they instantly became dogs. Oh, let's go. We got to get the squirrel. And then they suddenly brought themselves back to, oh, whoops, no, we're saving the world, so we can't go after the squirrel right now. Ever since that movie, my husband and I refer to being distracted like that as squirreling. And it is amazing how often we notice that it happens. There are things you can do to interfere with squirreling. The first is to notice when you lose focus. Obviously, with the dogs, it was a squirrel. Dogs chase squirrels. With my friend, it's other things that grab his attention while he's trying to focus on writing a song. Before you can fix the problem, you have to recognize it. Start observing your attention habits and what is distracting you. When do you tend to drift off? Is it after you've focused a little bit? Is it when you just sit down and have trouble settling in? When a notification lights up your screen? When your phone dings? The important thing is to identify where it is you lose focus. Then make sure that you design your work environment so that there are not a lot of distractions. Clean your workspace. Visual clutter creates mental clutter. Some people like to use website blockers. There are tools like Freedom or Cold Turkey or Stay Focused that can keep your most tempting time wasters away. And some people like to have a focus playlist. They need the background music. So white noise or music or instrumental beats sometimes can boost your concentration. And make sure you put your phone in another room, out of sight, out of mind, so that you can focus on what it is you're trying to accomplish. And then follow the rule of single tasking. Multitasking is a distraction when you have one thing to get done. Focus on the one thing and put everything else out of your brain. You'll be able to get that one thing moving ahead and hopefully completed. If you try to do two things or more at once, you're really not going to accomplish anything because your brain will just switch back and forth between the two of them and burn up energy without getting any progress. For some people, it helps to work for a while, like 25 minutes or so, and then take a 5-minute break, and then get back to work for another 25 minutes, and then take a 5-minute break. For other people, it helps to just dedicate a specific chunk of time for your task. Sometimes you can group similar tasks together so you can get a lot done as long as they're all in the same genre. For some people, it helps to create a focus ritual. You do the same thing every day. Before you sit down to start doing your work, you make a cup of coffee or tea. You put your phone and your iPad in another room. You review your top 3 priorities for the day. Choose the first one you want to work on. Close irrelevant tabs on your computer and then begin. If you do this for several days, the ritual will cue your brain into focus mode, a mental association that makes deep work easier to enter. And then work on strengthening your attention. Focusing is a skill that improves with practice. So start small, do manageable periods of deep work, and then gradually increase them. If you're in the flow, keep working. Sometimes people find that meditation is also one of the best long term habits for improving attention. If you meditate just 10 minutes a day, you will find sitting quietly and observing your breath can help you become more aware of your thoughts and less reactive to distractions. You can also protect your mind from information overload. Unsubscribe from newsletters and emails you don't read or you don't really care about. Limit your social media to specific times a day, or use it only on a desktop or only on your iPad. And don't use your computer or any digital medium just to fill time for no reason, because after a while that will become a habit. And be sure to give your brain the break it needs. You can't focus for 8 hours straight because the brain needs downtime to stay sharp. Take time to go get a cup of coffee or get out in the air and take a walk. Being out in the sunlight and fresh air can really rejuvenate you and give your brain a rest. It's okay if you feel bored. When you are bored, it's the time that you are creative and you get clarity. And get clear with yourself on what matters most and what deserves your full attention. Whether it's doing your meaningful work, being present with your loved ones, or pursuing a passion, the why gives your focus purpose. When you know what's worth your attention, it becomes much easier to protect it from everything else. So remember that once you reclaim your attention, you reclaim your time, your energy, and your life.